Hey, Vanessa.
Yes.
Your name Vanessa?
Yes.
And who are you, girl?
Vanessa Harris.
And who's your daddy?
Gregory Harris, your brother.
Yes, and he's not here today, so you are co-hosting for him. But guess what we're doing today?
What?
We are going to be talking to some people about cultural exchanges. More specifically, people who were host families for exchange students. You know, I was an exchange student.
Oh, was it fun?
Yes, it was fun. And we're going to learn just how much fun it was here on the Veronica Harris Show. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm Veronica Harris, and we're back here at Veronica Harris Show. And I have with me, not my brother, but who are you?
Vanessa Harris.
And who's your name?
Gregory Harris, your brother.
Okay, and she is co-hosting with me today. And today we are talking about something that is near and dear to my heart, cultural exchange. You been anywhere besides the United States?
Jamaica?
Okay, you know your dad's shipping you off, right?
No.
But anyway, we're going to talk about cultural exchange. And we have two wonderful guests here who were also cultural exchange students themselves, as well as host parents. So we're going to find out a little bit about what it takes to be a host parent and, you know, just the whole experience of, you know, dealing with another student in cultural exchange. So let's get right to it. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So would you please introduce yourselves to our guests, to my public, I should say.
Sure. I'm Alexa Fleming. I'm the mom of two young adults. I am a journalist, and I am a host mom with YFU, Youth for Understanding.
Awesome.
And my name is Rita Bubniak, and I also have two kids who are both exchange students for summer programs. And I've been a host mom, and I've also been an exchange student myself.
Okay. So you host families for Youth for Understanding, YFU, as they call it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and that's how I got it started. I went somewhere before that, but then my junior year, I went through YFU, and I was exchange student for a full year in Sweden. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. So, and you were exchange student yourself.
Yes.
And what country did you go to?
I went to Germany.
Germany. Which city in Germany?
Hamlin, which
Okay.
is the city of the Pied Piper.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know. Do you know the story of the Pied Piper?
No.
You need to catch up on your fairy tales. So did you enjoy your time there?
I had an amazing time. It wasn't always easy, but my family was totally dedicated to foreign exchange. All of my host siblings came to the United States for a year. My host father had been a prisoner of war in a Russian camp after World War II.
Wow.
So I got an eyeful
Right.
about different cultures, and it was very interesting.
So you really got a good history lesson.
I got a history lesson.
Wow. And you said something that was very important. You said your host family was totally dedicated. And I think that's what makes a great cultural exchange program. Because I know when I was there, my family was the best.
Yes.
I couldn't ask for a better family to be with that wasn't my own family. So what made you ladies decide to become host families or host parents?
Well, for me, probably 15 years ago, as I mentioned, I'm a reporter, and I was assigned to do a story on cultural exchange here in DC. I had never had any experience or exposure to it. So I did the story and just decided that when my kids got a little bit older, I was going to become a host parent, and so I did. They became young teenagers, and so I signed up.
And this young people that you had come over, what countries were they from?
So we had 3 for 1 year each: Norway, Denmark, and Germany.
Okay, so some Scandinavian countries, European. Okay, awesome. And yourself, like, what made you decide to get into it?
Well, it made a huge impact on my life when I was younger. So when my kids were little, my son was 3, my daughter was 5, we hosted a German girl for a year named Carolyn, and she's a doctor now.
Oh,
We've been in touch the past 20 years.
Nice.
My kids bonded with her beautifully, and it was an amazing thing to watch. So I was hooked at that point.
Okay.
And I started to see a vision for my children to grow up with that kind of an experience. So we proceeded to host 8 more full year exchange students while my kids were younger, and we had 8 temporary kids. Sometimes, you know, they change families for one reason or the other. So they learned a lot. Both of my kids, I'll add, used their experiences as host siblings in their college essays when they were applying to school.
All right, so you might want to get shipped off on a college application. There you go. Now, again, it's challenging because even myself, when I went overseas, it's challenging. You know, you're coming into somebody else's home and trying to develop that comfort. So what kind of challenge, so let's talk about, I know the challenges from a student exchange student's perspective, but what kind of challenges are there from a family perspective?
For
Because this is somebody you don't know, they're coming into your house.
It's true. The kids don't think about it either.
No.
It's a challenge for the family.
I mean, for us, we were, I think, it was lucky for us because when we brought kids in, we had teenagers.
Right.
So everybody had the same rules. For example, we had curfews. If you're this age, this is your curfew. And if you're that age, that's your curfew. And so, you know, it was what it was. And also about, and I guess just the baseline of treating the kids like your own children. So any rules anybody has are the same for all of the kids. And you make that clear right from the start. Also, this is your home. If you want something, if you're hungry, get it. If you want to eat something, eat it, clean up. You know, all of those things are all the same. And I guess for us, that was important that they knew right off the bat that they were not guests.
Okay, interesting. What about you?
Same for me. It was a little easier for me because my kids were younger, and I could, you know, set rules just a little bit differently. So I had a more of a personal one-on-one relationship with Carolyn. I think the most important thing is for them to, is for you to create a space for them to jump in as a family member, and that means they do chores. You know, not like they come over to work, you know, in your home, but I mean, you split up the chores. They have to take some ownership. Carolyn helped me paint. I mean, she was there when we were doing some minor home renovations. We put a deck on, and so she kind of suffered with us a little bit, but she helped me paint whole rooms, and she was almost 5. I'm going to say, yeah, about 5'10", so she was tall. And she could reach, you know, where I couldn't reach. So I say you get them going, hit the ground running. They are not a guest.
There was a language barrier for me in the beginning. The students that came to you, were there language barriers that you had to get through?
Well, for our kids, the language barrier for them lasts about 2 weeks because immediately they go to school with our kids. They go to high school with our kids. They're sitting at the lunch table. I remember them saying that they're sitting at the lunch table and the conversation's going like this, and it's really, really difficult. But after just a couple weeks, then, you know, they're kids, so it's all okay. So language barrier, I guess not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about for you?
I didn't really experience a language barrier with any of my kids. I mean, most of them can speak English when they come to this country.
Right, most of the kids, they start learning
yeah,
English
they start
at a young
early.
age.
You know, American exchange students can, as you know, also go abroad, and for them it would be more like your experience where you have to learn the language when you get there. But I never really experienced understanding. Sometimes communicating is a little different. You know, I had a few teenage boys where, you know, they'd say one thing and they meant something else, and you know, that kind of thing. But I didn't really. You find ways to communicate.
Yeah, you find ways to get around it. All right, well, we're going to stop our communicating right now, and we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to learn. Vanessa, you're going to ask some questions, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to put you to work because you're getting shipped out. All right?
Okay.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. And look who has showed up again. How is it that you managed to? You weren't supposed to be here.
Yeah, I was just passing through, and I thought I heard somebody call my name, so when I peeked in to see if y'all needed me.
Okay, well, for Alexa and Rita, this is my brother Gregory Harris, my regular co-host. He has managed to do some presto change or switcheroo trickerations, not manage to get himself into the sea. But I know you have questions because you always have questions.
Yes, yes. Lexa and Rita, quick hypothetical. You get up out of your bed in the middle of the night, and you see,
No crazy,
see
right?
you see
Don't
your-
ask no crazy questions.
you see your exchange student up to no good. I don't know, sneaking around doing something. Like, how do you handle that situation?
Well, you handle it like you would talk to your own child to start. You know, it depends on what they're doing and what the circumstances are. Sometimes, you know, they're up chatting with a friend from home because the time zones are different and, you know, they might be homesick. You know, I wouldn't be too hard on a student like that. But if they're planning something evil, you know, but those kinds of things really don't happen very often. And if they do, you've got a lot of support. I mean, that's one of the great things about having YFU or any exchange organization behind you. They have area reps, they have engagement professionals who will speak with them and help guide them. So you do a normal amount of discipline, and then when you feel like you need support, you call in YFU or possibly the school, depending on the situation, and they have a whole protocol for how things are handled. You know, the student is already aware of what, you know, that they have to be on their best behavior. And ultimately, if they cannot change their behavior, then they will get moved to a different family or even sent home if that behavior just doesn't improve.
So you just reminded me of something. We had some middle of the night sneaker outers, and so you know they're grounded for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just like we would our own kid. In fact, it was our own kid and the exchange student. So you know it's.
Okay, gotcha. I also was wondering, what would happen? Because I would want to be a host one day of an exchange student as well. As I send Vanessa off, I might, you know, receive one. What if you find out that you know, they have what I call a real delicate palate where they can't eat the certain foods like you like to buy in your grocery store. Next thing you know, your grocery bill is like $1,000 a month. Like, is there any support from the, you get any money being a host family? Because I know it's some extra, cost involved.
Well, if a person is just say gluten-free or vegetarian, that's noted on their profile. So you know that going in before you choose that child, and you know whether you can support that or not. But an answer to the larger question, the host families are not compensated in any way monetarily.
Wow. Because my host home, we did a lot. They took me on a lot of different things. So really it's, you know, I guess one of the decisions you have to make is, can we do this financially?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
They usually say you should budget for like an extra $200 a month. Can you afford that extra expense? And, you know, every time we've hosted, we've changed our dietary habits a little bit. You know, I like to eat organic food. Sometimes I couldn't get everything organic. I eat a little more pasta, put a little more pasta, you know, on the table for the boys. And if they're doing sports, you're going to have to, you know, feed them lots of carbs. You know, but I really want to address the fact that there's this really good karma that comes out of hosting. There are good things that happen in your life that you just don't see coming.
For instance?
You know, my daughter really wanted to go to a girls' school, and we couldn't afford it. And my exchange student had a relationship with a coach on his tennis team who really enjoyed him, and she was a math teacher at the school where my daughter wanted to go, single sex, you know, all girls school. And you know, when she found out that Lydia wanted to apply, somehow some magic happened. And, you know, we got the scholarship that she needed to be able to afford to go. And I know, I mean, I can never promise that for, you know, everyone, but there just was no other explanation. She walked me through what to do. She said, just wait until, you know, things have settled and they know who's coming and how much is left. And sure enough, we got an amazing scholarship.
Wow.
So, you know, the world kind of takes note of the fact that you are stepping up and you're helping, and really good things have come our way as a family because of that. That's just what I can say. No, you don't get compensated financially, but both my kids have amazing experiences in life that you just couldn't pay for because of their relationships.
So what do you feel? I mean, that's obviously one of the benefits, but what do you feel? Because I know as an exchange student, and you yourself, because you were saying, there's so much you learn.
Yes.
But what do you feel that you as host parents, what do you learn from the experience?
Well, I would like to speak to that from the viewpoint of my kids. I feel like there's such an intrinsic value to your kids. And number one is them understanding that they're not the center of the universe and that their way isn't the way. So, I mean, I remember, you know, when we got our first student, that student came, she was a...
Happy birthday!
Aw.
Ah, nice.
Should we sing?
No.
Yes.
If you can,
No.
I can't sing.
Stop trying to blow out my candles.
Happy
Thank you
birthday!
so much.
Oh, we didn't know.
Aw.
Oh.
No, come here. Come here. You know she did.
This is my firstborn.
I'm your only firstborn.
You made me a mother.
Oh,
Without you, I would never have been a mother.
without
And
you.
you were a good example for your little big brother over here and for Valerie.
Aw.
And Daddy and I love you very, very much.
Thank you. And I would not have been an exchange student without you and Daddy.
True that.
Oh my goodness! Thank you so much, Mother.
Yes, dear.
All right. So, the benefits that you learned.
So the first student we had was a girl from Denmark, and when she came, you know, she expressed to us what things are cool for her in Denmark, and you know, our kids were, I don't remember, 14 and 12 or something like that, and I remember their you know, their reaction to learning about these things that she thought were cool that they'd never heard of or didn't know about, maybe the ways that she dressed or just things that she talked about. And it was an eye-opener for them to understand, oh, she's our age and she likes these things that we don't even know about. And so I guess maybe we, you know, the earth doesn't start and end with us. I think that's really, really important.
That's awesome. When Magnus came over here and you lost it, what did you learn anything from having to, you know?
That age, I was really, really young, so I wasn't even picking up on things. I was just, but I tell you what I did learn though. The year you were gone, there was a lot more room in the house. Did enjoy that.
Of course you did. You learned more and stuff. And that's just my brother for you. But I know for me, when I came back, I think I had a different, you know, just learning, being away gave me a better appreciation for my family, my own family when I came back. Not that I didn't love my family, but I just, you know, being away from them and just having to go through things and, you know, they were still very supportive away, but just when I came back, I just realized, oh my God, I have the most amazing family. And my brother was tall and he had a deep voice all of a sudden. And it was amazing. Like, what is this going on? But I mean, again, I am so glad for you. I'm so glad that you were here to share this experience about being a host family because, again, I never knew that experience, but it seems that you got just as much out of it as we, the exchange student, does. Yeah. And you think you might want to do it too?
Yeah, because I was just about to ask before she mentioned the good karma, you know, that it brought upon the blessings and things like that. Like, why would I do it? But yeah, I need karma on my side.
Well, all right. Well, you know what? We can all use a little bit of good karma. And you've brought some good karma in here by coming and sharing your experiences with us. And we thank you so much. And if you want to find out more information about, you know, Youth for Understanding or where to go to become an exchange student or a host family, like obviously www.yfuusa.org.
Yes.
So that's yfuusa.org. All right.
What if I stick my finger in the cake?
No, well, how about we just
Would you be mad at me?
fade to black? We gonna fade. right, and we are back with our guest, and we are still talking about YFU and being an exchange student and host families. And Vanessa,
Yes.
you gonna make you earn your money today. It's time for you to ask some questions for our guests.
Okay. So what is a good age to become an exchange student?
Exchange students go abroad between the ages of 15 and 18. And you can start thinking about it as soon as you want, as soon as it becomes interesting. But, you plan for those ages when you're going to actually be abroad. And I want to say doing a gap year right after high school is also a possibility.
Right, okay. Because I went when I was 15 out. Wait, was that 15? Yeah, I was 15. I hadn't turned 16. Yeah, and when I came back, hadn't quite turned 17 yet. So I left when I was 15. But prior to that, as a sophomore, I think when I was 14, I went away for about 10 days. So yeah, you definitely start thinking about it early. Because you do want to plan. You do want to see, start thinking about what countries you might want to go to, and what best fits for you.
Also, what do you do to prepare to become an exchange student?
Well, a couple things I want to mention. First of all, YFU stands for Youth for Understanding. And that's self-explanatory. And the kids that get off the planes when they come to the U.S. now as exchange students have on their T-shirts, "At home in the world." So to plan to be an exchange student, you're going to be thinking about, how am I going to live somewhere besides home? And what do I need to do that? So you'll hear a lot from YFU. You have orientations that show you, what to expect. You're going to be an ambassador from your country. And that's a really important thing to remember, because you're going to be representing your country. You're going to be open to other cultures. You're going to be asking them questions, curious about their lifestyle, what's important to them as a country, what's their history, what have they experienced. And you can start thinking about that now. You're going to probably be a little bit homesick, but the more open you are to your new culture, the more quickly you're going to feel at home.
Yeah, those are excellent points. And I think, with Facebook and WhatsApp and all these different applications that sort of shrink the world, they can also help you start thinking about, do I want to go to this country? Because you may start talking to somebody who's from Singapore, or somebody who's from Australia, who's from New Zealand. So you may hey, I might want to visit, just by seeing their pictures and seeing what they do. So you may think about, I want to visit. But in terms of preparing, it's just, having the right mindset. You cannot go closed-minded. You have to be open.
You have to be open.
You have to be open.
Yeah.
With all the problems in the world today, is it a good time to be an exchange student?
I think it's the best time it could be to be an exchange student. Change comes from young people, and the relationships that you all forge with each other across the globe are going to be what bring us closer together and bring us closer to peace, I think.
Oh, makes sense. And you talk about the relationships that we forged, young people. Your daughter, actually went back to Ghana or to see.
Yes.
Explain all that. What happened with that?
My sister couldn't have children, so she hosted 17 exchange students.
Wow.
Yes, mostly 2 at a time.
Okay.
That was her family.
Okay.
And she hosted Elizabeth from Ghana about 10 years ago. And Elizabeth stayed close to our family ever since. She's always, checking in on birthdays and holidays. We just love her. And she's actually staying with my daughter right now. But last February, my sister went to Thailand for a wedding and Ghana to visit Elizabeth. And my sister invited Lydia along. Now, Lydia had been an exchange student for 2 months in Finland on a summer program.
Now, that's your daughter?
That's my daughter, Lydia.
Okay.
And she's 23 now. And she went to Ghana and spent, I think it was about a week to 10 days. And she was in Accra. And she went to the Cape Coast Castle, where they, had actually staged the whole slave trade in the western part of Africa. She saw that. I mean, this year, the 400th anniversary of, I don't want to call it an anniversary. I'm not sure what you call it,
but
it's a commemoration year, and she saw that, and it huge piece to put in place for a young person to understand and to actually visit. And she was there with someone she knew well from her childhood to explain it all and guide her through it. It's just an amazing thing for a young person to experience.
Yeah, because it's one thing to read about history, and even one thing to look at it on TV, but to actually go there is amazing. And I felt the same way when I went to Poland. Like, I had seen all the movies like Schindler's List and various documentaries about the concentration camps, but to actually walk into one and walk into a gas chamber just puts it in a whole new perspective. So being able to, do these exchanges and be immersed for a year or however long you're there, I think is the best thing. And it really does, start with the host family. Like, how, you guys can make or break, the experience.
That's right. Something else that we haven't really touched on is the relationships that you forge and that continue, the relationships that I think that our family's going to have with our kids is going to last a lifetime. I mean, just for example, this is just kind of a funny aside. This summer, my husband and I went to Ireland for 4 days with one of our exchange students' parents.
Wow!
Because we got to be friends with them, and our son has gone to stay the summer in their home because he became friends with their son. Okay. So, I just feel like these relationships can go on as
they can go on and on.
And with all kinds of tentacles.
Yeah.
Decades.
Right. They can. I remember for the first couple months after I returned from Sweden, it seemed like every month someone was coming to stay. Yeah. And we had I had a temporary host family when I stayed, because they had to stay in Stockholm for a couple of weeks. So I had a temporary host family there, and Magnus was the brother there, and he stayed for a whole month. And I mean, your father lost him in the mall, but no, they said we just separated, but he was found again. But no, it was just those experiences of having people come, and then my brother, he got a chance to do more traveling with his basketball, and my sister when she was in the military, and my parents got to go to see them to visit. So being able to travel and see these different places is just an amazing experience.
How long do students usually stay in the program?
They usually stay for 1 year, 11 months. There are some shorter durations. I believe there might be a 6-month option, and then some students are able to come for special 2-week stints, but generally you can count on a year.
Are you still hosting?
My real time is over because my kids are gone, and I'm just, but if they need me, I'm here.
And you're an area rep now.
I'm an area rep for a boy with on a scholarship from Germany this year, and I did have a Finnish exchange student last year, but my mom's a little older now, and so I'm spending a little more time with her. But as soon as I can, I will get back into it.
All right. Well, hopefully, when people see this show, they will become more interested in it, and they will, go and look for information to become either an exchange student or a host family. But as far as the Veronica Harris Show is concerned, we are all about the cultural exchange. And we hope you watch us next time when we will learn more about whatever else there's in the world for us to learn about. We are, global citizens. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.